Now, the National Child Protection Authority has called on the Education Ministry to intervene in the regulation of international schools as well as private institutes, citing complaints of child abuse. Now, do you think such intervention is necessary, and shouldn't private institutions be able to effectively regulate themselves?
If you're looking at regulation in relation to child abuse, I think it's very serious to me. Clearly, there are gaps for this to be happening. Again, this will continue to happen if it is not appropriately dealt with. I mean, we read some amazing stories in our press, how kids are being abused in schools. But what do we do about it? How much of noise do we make about it? What do you mean by regulating it? Regulation need to be what do you do with the offender. Right. So you may have the regulation, and if you're going to soft pedal the offender, the offences will continue. In that context, I think you need to have regulations. I think it's a social responsibility to make sure the kids that are going into the colleges are sent in trust. At the times we went to school, there was a lot of discipline, and you wouldn't even imagine a crime of this nature the time we went to school. Obviously things have changed. So when you say we regulate, my question is what are you going to do with the offenders? You can have the lines to say you should not be harassing. Number one, is there a reporting system? And is the reportee safe post-report? Will the parent be harassed after reporting? So it's good to have regulations in place because it's a very serious crime against a child, and it need to be alerted not just by the state but by the social groups, and it need to be highlighted. But the biggest issue, only way you can sustain discipline is when you actually impose the right punishment. Otherwise you can't control this. It's pathetic that we have come to a point where someone has to intervene, and this is common sense. It's a human obligation towards a child. It's a nobleness of the profession of teaching that has been compromised here. Obviously, because teachers are not properly trained in the discipline of their vocation. We mass recruit teachers in. So the days we went into school, there was Maharagama Teacher Training Institute, which taught people what the disciplines are. Good to someone to intervene, but my question is, how effective will be your intervention? How effective will be the regulation? What would you do? I mean, we have so many authorities. Are we saying we don't have child protection? We have been having for decades. But why is this happening day after day after day? And what do you do with these people? You just let them hang out, continue to do their job. You can have regulations which are ineffective. In that context, I think the Ministry of Education owes it to the parents, owes it to the child to protect them. So whether it is Child Protection Authority or not, I think Ministry of Education should have an arm within that institute to protect the children who are going to school. I think it's overall the behavior of the employees is their responsibility. So it need to be governed. The principal should have a code of conduct in each of the schools, which need to be made public. When you have open parent day, this is the code of conduct for any colleges, and this is what you do. See, in our institute, if you walk into our lunchroom, there is an anonymous phone number, call for whistleblowing. Anyone can call that number from anywhere in the world. It's a local number. So that's the kind of governance an organization. We deal with children, so they can definitely comment. But I think it's a good thing to be regulated. But my question is, why wasn't it already there? It should be part of the institute, ministry. When you are dealing with children, when you are dealing with education, there has to be a code of conduct, which need to be written to the principals, and the people need to be measured. And I think it need to be also shared with the parents. At the time a student is admitted, they need to give back the code of conduct. This is what we expect the teachers to be doing, and if you see a breach of this, here's the number to call. You can have that on paper, but the validity of that regulation depends on what you do with the offender.